For an FTA to be possible after Brexit, the interim period must mean, effectively, that there must be no membership of the EEA or the Customs Union or EFTA, because it would remove the freedom we need for negotiations with third countries. This includes any period in the EEA being party to the EEA agreement like EFTA states or a bilateral Swiss-style type of agreement. The EEA essentially means membership of the single market and commitment to the four freedoms: free movement of goods, service, capital and workers. 3 EFTA states, Norway, Iceland and Liechtenstein, signed the EEA agreement in 1994, and whilst what it would actually mean is insufficient freedom for us to be a credible partner in trade negotiations with the others. The agreement means taking on the single market acquis, but with no vote on the legislation. Through the EFTA Surveillance Authority, regulation is being harmonised. The EFTA Secretariat itself states, quote, "The EFTA Surveillance Authority and the EFTA Court, respectively, mirror the surveillance functions of the European Commission and the competences of the European Court of Justice." Therefore, the EEA does involve the harmonisation of laws in significant areas of environment, social policy and so on over the whole of their domestic economy. It involves the application of ECJ case law via the EFTA Court, and I completely disagree with the honourable gentleman in his assertion that it would not. The EEA also includes the free movement of persons. In other words, the European Court of Justice effectively prevails, and our influence over the EEA would be infinitely and hopelessly inadequate. Let us turn for a moment to just consider the experience of Norway. The Norwegian government commissioned a study into the impact of the EEA, and the study found that Norway implements, and I quote, approximately 3/4 of substantive EU law and policy. So I think that itself makes a mockery of much of what the honourable gentleman was saying. Furthermore, the cost of the EEA for Norway has increased tenfold since 1992. And furthermore, there are nearly 12,000 EU directives and regulations implemented through the EEA agreement, which have changed Norwegian society in a significant number of areas. We are told from the EU legal database that we have 17,000 regulations coming to us over the period of time since we entered the European Union. And yet Norway, which is in the EEA, has in fact acquired nearly 12,000 EU directives and regulations, certainly.
Can the honourable member tell the House when a Norwegian government last proposed leaving the EEA?
I can tell him that the Norwegian government has consistently made its position clear in staying in, but in practice the trend of attitudes in Norway is increasingly moving against that. And furthermore, I was at a conference only last week when a young Norwegian leader of the People's Movement made it clear that over 70% of all the young people in Norway want to get out of the EEA and do not want to join the EU. So that is the position, and the bottom line is, and I don't need to speak any longer on this, there is absolutely no case whatsoever for us joining the EEA. It is completely contradictory to the mandate that we received in the referendum, which was perfectly clear. It is impossible. I'll certainly give way to the honourable lady.
Well, I'm surprised there was a question mark after that bit, but never mind. Could I say, and put this to my... Well, don't worry about the right honourable bit. To my honourable friend, these words. The great advantage of the EFTA model is that it is completely independent of the EU, yet follows the decisions of the European Court of Justice for the most part, although not always. That is important. I'm glad that my right honourable friend for Loughborough noticed that, because not many people have. I just wondered, because those are the very words of my honourable friend, which he said, as recorded in Hansard, in July.
Indeed, and the fact, and I entirely accept that that is what the position was at that point in time. And we've had this because the argument has moved on. And the reality is that the mandate of the British people is clear. We have repealed, wait a minute, we have already passed the Article 50 Act by 499 in this House to 110 or thereabouts, and furthermore, the decision that was taken on the repeal bill itself was passed by a majority, and therefore we do repeal the European Communities Act 1972. That is the will of this House, and that is what I stand on. And the reality is that these proposals to keep us in the, or to put us into the EEA would effectively be contrary to the mandate of the British people.